I don't want to play this in ranked. I don't want to play this against people, but I do want to know what the deal is with the deck. So we're going to do it against the bot. So it's more like a mill deck. Interesting. We got super lucky last game, but... Oh god, wait, we might need to just restart. Wait, hang on, we actually queued into, like, the worst possible one to get. The worst possible bot that actually counters this strat. I'm actually getting hard countered by the stupid Scout's Honor AI. How could this happen to me?
Moments later.
I'm getting really scared about the amount of health we have, though. I swear to God, if we lose against the stupid AI, they're legal, and if not, wow. So I just want you guys to like understand. I'm looking at a forum just like in preparation for doing this video, and this post here literally has -6 votes just for being about infinite combos. That's how much they're usually widely hated in card game communities. And I mean, it's for pretty good reason. I think most games are pretty anti that. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, an infinite combo, I mean, it's what it sounds like. There's a combo in the game that doesn't end. Or at the very least, it doesn't seem like it ends. It can just constantly loop on forever and ever. Like, the sound of that might sound really fun to actually accomplish. Like, you finally got the exact pieces in the game to just constantly play your cards in hand, maybe always have cards and just draw through, like, an infinite stack. That can sound pretty fun to play with. Playing against that is some bullshit. Just straight up. Like, and I don't think anyone really denies that. I feel like most people pretty much acknowledge that it really feels bad to play against infinite combos. If you guys remember the meme from Hearthstone that was like fun and interactive, the whole point of that meme was that there was no interaction between the players whatsoever. They like, you play your cards and you win the game. If your opponent doesn't play their cards, they lose. Like, there's no, like, back and forth. At least at that point in Hearthstone, that was the whole issue. But yeah, so Legends of Runeterra is no stranger to infinite combos. You've got right here a few different examples. This one I've named Infinite Combo 3, there's Infinite Combo 1 from last expansion, Infinite Combo 2, and they all have some different, like, goal of the infinite combo, but the way you get there is mostly the same. There's this champion called Akshan, very handsome dude. He has this whole mechanic of summoning a Warlord's Palace. It's a landmark that leads create a relic in hand. Okay, that sounds perfectly normal. What are the relics that you can create in hand? Well, it creates a 0-cost focus speed, which means you can do it without your opponent being able to interact with you on casting it. Anyway, this card, pick one. You can either predict and then draw one, summon a Sand Charger, this dude right here, or you can grant all allies +1/+0. That seems pretty normal. The way that Akshan levels up is when Warlord's Palace counts down by 8, which it's pretty easy to make that happen. When Akshan levels up, he summons a Warlord's Horde. Now, what's a Warlord's Horde? Well, Warlord's Horde is create a Sentinel's Horde in hand. What's that? Well, Sentinel's Horde is create the Absolver's Resurrection, Fount of Power, or Shield of the Sentinels. The main one that we're going to be looking at is Fount of Power. Draw 2 cards. Your cards cost 1 less this round. So if you haven't already picked up on it, the general play is you're going to play Akshan on 2. We have a lot of cards to make that happen. The whole goal is to try to get Akshan on 2. If you don't have that, you basically full mulligan every time. You get your Warlord's Palace leveled, so you level your Akshan. And then you just try to use as many of your countdown reduction cards. Like Sands of Time is great because it can help stall out the game if you're playing against aggro or something. And then now you've got this Fount of Power card sitting in hand. And you might be thinking, well, okay, so you draw 2 cards, that's great, and it reduces the cost of everything by 1. It's reducing the cost of all cards in your deck. Cards that you haven't drawn yet, that are sitting in the deck, also reduced by 1. Now, you have a lot of cards like Careful Preparation. Place a card from your hand into your deck, predict, then create an extra copy of the chosen card in hand. You have cards like Counterfeit Copies. Pick a card in hand, create 4 exact copies of it in your deck. Station Archivist. Pick a spell in the top 5 cards of your deck and create an exact copy. You start to see where this is going. You've got all these cards that put an extra copy in the deck and then create more of them. So you're just going to be spamming this Fount of Power card. You get Sentinel's Horde, you make Fount of Powers with it. Essentially, after you've done this 6 times, your entire deck is free. This is the most expensive card in the deck, and it costs 6. And it's free. It's literally no cost whatsoever to all the cards you draw, or any cards that you create at this point. Pretty stupid. It gets dumber because that already is pretty like, okay, but you still have like 20 cards in the deck, so eventually you're gonna dud out, right? But you have so many cards that just help you either pick what you need with predicts. You've got iterative improvements to make more of your station archivists, and you've got Called Shot, which is the win condition for this deck. Called Shot is draw 1, create a Parallel Convergence. Parallel Convergence, start a free attack using ephemeral copies of each ally. You get your board full of Actions and Station Archivists, Archivi, if you would. You create a bunch of this card, or even Called Shot. It doesn't super matter which one you create copies of. And then you just start spamming that, and you keep hitting face, keep hitting face. All this time, your opponent has sat through you doing a like 5 to 10 minute long combo with these cards, just so that you can get to a point where you spam out one spell at slow speed every turn. I don't think there's any confusion here. Like, it's not fun to play against. Why would it be fun for me, who just wants to play my card game? I just want to play my little Teemo Zoe deck. I figured it'd be fun to queue into a game of Runeterra, and now I have to sit through a 20-minute round while you burst past me every... Well, actually, technically they took out burst passing, but they can do it with the fast and slow speed spells too. Like, it's not... This infinite combo at least has a point. There is at least a reason to do this one, which is win the game. There have been other infinite combos, which are strictly just to hold your opponent hostage. Now, I'm going to bring up a card real quick. So you guys might know Hush, the 3-mana silence a unit this round. Used to have a very different effect. Used to be silence a unit this round, create a fleeting Hush in hand. You know, you cast it once, and then you get to cast it again. Okay, and you might be thinking, well, how do you infinite combo that? Action didn't exist when this card was out. Right you are, viewer. However, Cloud Drinker. Your burst and focus spells cost 1 less. So if you had 2 of this on board, you can just shit out every Hush under the sun until you just decide that you're done. And there was nothing your opponent could do about it. If your opponent had 1 creature on board and no mana, they could not stop you. You just constantly spam Hush and just constantly spam it, and they're stuck. The only way out is to surrender or hope your opponent disconnects. Those were your 2 options. You can sit there and see if they get bored, or cut your losses and just leave. That was the other dumb thing about that infinite combo. It literally only existed to trap your opponent. It had no other point to it besides hold your opponent hostage. There was even some dude, he just made a compilation of streamers doing that combo. First off, this is a clip from Mortimer. He is someone who really helped me get into streaming by giving me my very first raid, so mass respect to him. I believe he only did this because someone came into his chat, maybe donated money, I don't remember, said something to the effect of, I'm trying to make a video to show to prove a point to Riot. Will you do this combo? Look at what we've got. We've got 0 mana Hushes, and we've got Cloud Drinkers. And this was the whole bit. It was just this.
Guys, we did it.
Really just had no reason to exist. Just really didn't need to exist. You could see in the clip with Mortimer, he could just keep playing it forever. Riot eventually had to fix that. I think a small man is a developer on Runeterra, or at least it was at some point. Hey folks, we just made a hotfix capping cast of the same spell at 15 per round. This is a short-term fix for infinite loop abuse we've seen, with more general turn timer updates to come later this year. Thank you for your reports, and please always be excellent to each other. They literally had to make a rule change for this Hush combo. It was a hotfix. I couldn't find it in any patch notes, so I don't even know if it's still in the game, but it's to prevent issues like this where you're just casting the same thing. The Action infinite combo kind of gets around this because it says 15 per round, but it's not easy to get 15 Warlord's Horde played in the same turn. And by that point, if you play 15 Warlord's Horde, you've drawn 30 cards. You have effectively drawn through every card that could be in your deck, plus the extras. Like, I can understand people find playing the infinite combo is fun. I can get that. And I think a lot of people who are against infinite combos don't really understand what would be fun about that. The fun thing is not so much the making your opponent sit there and wait. I mean, unless you're a true sadist, like, you probably don't enjoy that aspect of it. It's more the thought of, like, being able to get the perfect cards out and pull off this combo. It can be big and it can be exciting. And then also, from a competitive standpoint, if you have something that literally just locks your opponent out of the game, they just can't do anything, that's like the most competitive thing you can do, is prevent your opponent from winning, right? That's the idea, right? Is it good for any game? No, it's not. I think most games, not even just card games, have gone through this. Like, if we just type in infinite combo, one of the first things is how infinite combos ruin fighting games while still being awesome. I recognize the one on the left is the Ice Climbers. Those of you who don't know, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and maybe in other games, there was a thing called wubbing. I think it was called wubbing. Wobbling. Sorry, it's wobbling. This is a perfect example. Wubbing to 99%. Imagine playing against this in a tournament. Imagine going on ladder and having this happen to you. Like, I'm just gonna let that play for a little bit, just to give you, like, the idea that this is essentially what you're doing to your opponent when you spam Sentinel's Horde. Constantly popping it out, constantly making everything reduced by 1 or 2. This is what it feels like. Your opponent is this Bowser. Your opponent is sitting there just taking it, literally unable to do anything. He's literally just sitting there waiting for you to end his suffering. He's defenseless, initiativeless. He has no fun and no interactivity. He is just being wailed on. And I don't remember if in Smash Bros. This was even that hard to do. I think if you were a good enough Ice Climbers player, you could do this. I mean, look, this dude has literally been doing it for almost 2 minutes now. I think they literally just, like, move the C stick in any direction and you die. Yeah, you see, there you go. That's the equivalent in other games, is that. And sure, it can be rewarding to the player who's playing it. It is objectively fun when you have put time and effort into learning something, whether it be this combo, hand-eye coordination to get the wobbling thing going in Smash Bros, or whatever fighting game has an infinite combo. I can understand the rationale behind wanting to achieve that. It's not good for competitive games. Straight up not a good thing, especially because it's a really awful viewing experience. Like, imagine a tournament where they're doing this and they're just wasting 7 minutes of a broadcast just doing the exact same thing while the other player does nothing. I want to say there were some tournaments in Smash Bros. That banned wobbling. It's just not good for any card game. It's not even just that. It's not good for any game, period. It's understandable when there's a win condition tied to it. Like, you're playing to win. You're playing to win the game. If there's a way to win the game, it's like, people are gonna do it. If it exists, people will do it. You know the cat meme, if I fits, I sits? That's the same concept here. What could the developers do to stop this? All you do is you just make it so Fount of Power doesn't reduce costs. I honestly don't, I'll be honest, I don't know why this exists. Drawing 2 at 0 mana focus speed is still pretty good, especially if you get this on the beginning of your turn and now you have 2 options that you didn't pay for. It baffles me that this got through QC, honestly. I mean, okay, it doesn't baffle me. It makes sense because it's like a powerful effect. Action at like a base level is not super easy to level. With the cards they have now added into the game, it has become very easy, and I have done it pretty consistently, not knowing how to play the deck at all. About the only infinite combo that I will ever appreciate is you hitting that subscribe button. If you can just infinitely hit the subscribe button, that'd be great. I'd have so many subs, just so many subs. I don't know, there's not a whole lot more to this conversation, if I'm gonna be honest with you. Infinite combos are just objectively not good for the longevity of a game. They will ruin the player versus player integrity and experience, because now I have a fear of running into this deck and just having 15 minutes of my time wasted. Like, it's not fun. I don't think it's really 15 minutes. I think if you're, like, sitting in one of these games and it gets to be, like, the 5-minute point and there's really no clear sign of stopping, like, okay, maybe it's time to just cut your losses and move on. I understand the stigma of like, oh, well, if he's gonna sit here and go infinite, I'm gonna make him spend that whole time. I think that's fair. If the whole point of their game plan is to make you waste time, you're in your right to sit there and wait for it, right? If they want to have it, they gotta have it. I've heard so many people complain, well, my opponent didn't leave after I started going off on the infinite combo. He totally just wasted my time. No, what? The only person who's wasting time is the person who went out of their way to make an infinite combo and then BM'd by constantly going into the infinite combo. There's like no problem with combos existing in card games. Let's just be clear about that. The problem is not that this combo exists. The problem is how easy it is to abuse the combo. Like, long combos are one thing when there's ways to play around it. The only way to play around this infinite combo is to just have a way to deal with action early, and then at every instance after that. I don't know. I'm trying to be non-biased here and be very, like, looking at both sides of this. It's really hard when the only justification is because I can. If I'm going to be honest, if there's some of you who like doing infinite combos, I'd love to hear your side of this, because really, I'm just going off of what I see on Twitter from people who like infinite combos, and it's really not much of an argument as much as it's just like a, I just really like making people waste their time. I'd like some constructive, like, points for infinite combos. I'd love to see that in the comments. I just have a really hard time defending it. It's not fun to watch. It's not fun for tournaments. It's not fun to play against. It can be fun to play. Like, I'll be honest, in the games that I showed you earlier, like, it was fun to have to, like, big brain think, okay, if I want to infinite out, I need to do this into that, and then I have to, like, it can be fun a little bit the first time. But the thing that makes it fun is, like, the anticipation of, is this the right play? Knowing that you calculated everything out and made the correct decision, I think makes something like that fun. It's the unknown, right? That's just human nature. You like to be able to get out there, explore. When you're climbing on ladder and you pretty much have the deck figured out front and back, or you bring it to a tournament, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of going on and on. I think closing thoughts here, it's just a really bad thing for card games, and I think Riot needs to fix this. The fact that this is the second infinite combo that's existed in the game, I don't know. The developers have been trying to do stuff about infinite combos. What they did with the Hush was a step in the right direction, but I think they really just need to get rid of the current iteration of Fount of Power. Like, you can make a card that has a strong effect that's not reduce everything by one. I don't know, like, card reduction isn't so much the problem as it is just how easy this is to abuse. Your cards cost one less. Not your cards currently in hand, not a specific card in your hand. This is all of your cards cost one less. So anything you draw from this point forward now costs one less. I don't think I have anything else I can bring to this conversation. The infinite combos are just objectively not good for a card game. There's no way to play around them most of the time. It's not fun to watch from either your opponent's side or spectators. It's really not good for a competitive scene. It just turns into who can draw their infinite combo first. It's not even a matter of skill at that point. It's just, did you draw your cards or not? Yeah, I think that's really it. So thank you so much to everyone who came out and watched this video. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Just like punch that subscribe button. Get it out of here. No one needs it. If you are looking for something else to watch, I've had a plethora of other discussion videos so far. We've talked about Path of Champions. We've talked about... What else have we talked about? Someone help me out. If you are interested in any of these topics, I have links in the description for a playlist of these, and I will see you guys next time.